The latest chapter, of course, coming today from former Speaker John Boehner. Joining me now to discuss Congressman Marsha Blackburn, Mark Serrano, Louise Mensch, and Senator, I was going to make you a senator, Steve Rogers. Representative Blackburn, you have been the voice of reason throughout all of this. You have dealt with the notion that it's the outsider's year, but it's rubbed a whole lot of people the wrong way, particularly within your party. It's falling apart before our eyes. You still insist that everything's okay.
I think things are just fine, and I think Ted Cruz today should have said, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I've been dealing with. He should have owned it. And I got to tell you something. I think 62% of the American people don't see the Republican Party as a negative. Look at the millions that have come in. I think they see the establishment with a negative, and I think that's where it's coming from. They want something different. They want us back to our roots and that constitutional underpinning of a strong national defense, strong on individual liberty, strong on making certain we preserve the Constitution.
You know, Louise, I think to a degree Ted Cruz tried to own it. He lumped this in, of course, with Harry Reid, Boehner, some of the McConnell, said they're all in the same boat. They all despised him because he went down to Washington, D.C. to shake things up, and he lumped them all in with Donald Trump.
Yeah, and I think maybe that is a tactic. Perhaps that's the best card that he's got to play right now. Everybody is going to make fun of John Boehner. I mean, the hashtag that is trending is Crucifer. Lucifer meets Ted Cruz. But let's face it, who are Ted Cruz's most important electors right now? They are those delegates. And those GOP grassroots, those delegates that are going to be at the convention, they do not like John Boehner. Incredibly unpopular with the Republican grassroots. So how much that's really going to hurt Ted Cruz really remains to be seen.
I would think it would help him, but, you know, Mark, I got to tell you something. When this began, a lot of people that hated the Planned Parenthood, now they like it. A lot of people hated the North Carolina bathroom law, now they like it. I mean, some of these folks out there can be swayed pretty easy from their core convictions. Do you think a lot of people now are going to like John Boehner?
No way. Charles, look, if anybody's Lucifer, okay, it's the guys who sold the American people down the river like John Boehner. He's the Lucifer. And the warning to Ted Cruz is, be careful who you dance with, because if you dance with the devil, you get burned. He has been toying with the establishment to try to outsmart and outmaneuver Donald Trump. This is the backlash. This is the burn against Ted Cruz. It was a mistake to begin with.
Although you're a Trump supporter, John Boehner says that late in the night, as Donald Trump is tweeting, he also texts him as well. I mean, that doesn't help Donald Trump, does it?
I got to tell you, I don't believe that at all. I don't believe John Boehner and Donald Trump are texting each other. There's no way. Look, John Boehner is the poster boy of the establishment. He's the reason why we're in the mess that the voters are reacting to. And I'm telling you, it's to the advantage of Trump. It's the advantage of Cruz. Cruz should distance himself from this guy. It's ridiculous. It's horrible.
Charles, it helps no one. Look, John Boehner obviously has a delayed reaction to letting down the American people. He did. He let down the American people. But there comes a time when all the name-calling has to stop. We have to think about what our children are looking at.
Are you concerned about that 62% number?
Not at all. Regarding Trump?
No, regarding the Republicans in general, the unfavorable view of the Republican Party.
Oh, yeah. That's the Republican establishment. I'm not concerned about that because the Republican establishment is going down. And the people in this country, in this case, Republicans, are rising up. We're seeing it because of Donald Trump. They're going to take that party completely over, reshape it, and make it respectable once again.
Oh, please, come on. We've just heard about the bromance between Boehner and Trump, texting each other late at night like little lovebirds. Come on, these are two guys that are deep in the establishment. Why wouldn't he text Boehner? After all, he was deep in with Hillary Clinton, donating to her. The guy is baked into the establishment. Ted Cruz has stood firm against that, and that's why those delegates know that. They're not going to be easily fooled. They're not going to like tales of Donald and John.
You've got two Trump men sitting right here. You know that, right?
You know, I was both. We see this woman card I got right here. I'll take you both with me.
Okay, hold on one second, guys. Let's bring the Representative Blackburn. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think what we've got is Trump and Cruz are the two outsiders. It is going to be either one of them. Trump has had a very good week. Cruz has had a less good week. I think Cruz should have owned this from Boehner and said, this is indicative of what I'm talking about, used it to build himself forward. But I agree, the 62% number This is the message to the establishment.
Yes.
Move over. This is a restructuring like
Right.
we
No.
had in 1980. It is going to be a new, more focused Republican Party.
Here's the problem, though, guys. You know, people that I heard were rhinos yesterday aren't rhinos, and people that stood for the conservative movement for 30, 40 years, all of a sudden being called rhinos. I don't even know anymore who's supposedly the establishment and who supposedly are rhinos.
You know, you're
Look,
right.
this is primary politics, Charles. It gets muddy, okay?
Yes,
and it's
that's
hard
correct.
to figure out, you know, where the lines are drawn, particularly because it's primary politics. The
This
reality
is like
is...
MMA before they made it legal, though.
Look, the reality is, on June 7th, okay, Trump's either going to be the nominee or he's going to come up just short. And that period after June 7th is when a nominee will be chosen before
That's correct.
Cleveland.
And your answer...
And we will unite as a
But
party.
there's a confluence right now of ideologies and the name calling. Again, I'm hearing people called rhinos who I know for a fact are conservatives who were carrying a conservative banner when it was the least popular thing in America to do.
But, Charles, as Mark said, you will find out in June and at the convention, you'll get the answer to your question. All this name-calling is going to stop. There's going to be a new Republican Party is going to rise up of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Yeah, these are the people. Talk about insults. Donald Trump is insulting all those Cleveland delegates all the time, calling them the elite, when in fact they're the hard-working grassroots. They are going to rise up against those insulting Cleveland and deliver a conservative
Louise,
nominee.
ultimately, Hillary
That's not
Clinton-
going to be Donald
Well, Louise,
Trump.
those
May I
delegates
remind you all-
are
may I
beholding to,
remind you
not
all
all of them,
what
but many of them are
happened in
beholding to
1980?
party bosses. Remember that.
You know, Representative Blackburn, in the last block, we're going to do a comparison of the Ronald Reagan in 1980 and Donald Trump this year, because I think there are a lot of parallels, but people would also be surprised at where they differed. But the point is that you're saying this is an evolutionary thing. It happens in everything, including politics and with political parties, and this is something we deal with. But what about the carnage and the aftermath? Because these things don't happen without a lot of people's being broken, and a lot of spirits being broken, and a lot of bad blood in the aftermath.
But I have to tell you, it heals. From 99 to 02, I led a fight against the state income tax in Tennessee. It was brought forward by a Republican administration. And I have to tell you, we were kind of on the front end of the Tea Party and the upheaval and all of that. We defeated the state income tax. And I have seen people come together and they come back and they say, okay, this is going to be what our basis is. We're going to stand against this. And they have stood together, and it has reshaped our state. It has reshaped our party, both for the better. And we have super majorities in our House and our Senate. We've kind of led the way on this transition and this refocus to put our emphasis on a smaller central government, national security, providing for common defense. You know, those
But
fundamental
there's some core
underpinning
issues, though, like trade,